Hello and welcome to another session of Hearts of Wulin, Numberless Secrets. This is our Hearts of Wulin game which is a game that I designed and then I co-wrote, and I'm hoping eventually we'll have a PDF out there for people that you can get that. And this is that game, but it is also combined with Brindlewood Bay, which is a game of mysterious investigation. We are using some of those techniques from that. All of which is to say, all of this is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is our online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We're using safety tools. Our players know those, and we'll be checking on those. If you hear us X card or talk about lines and veils, that's what we're discussing. We are in the midst of a mystery. We finished one case out last time, and we were introduced to a new case this time. Essentially, there is a tournament that is happening right now, and it is taking place at the Silk Blossom Pavilion, which is under the auspices of Chief Oyang, a person we haven't really met face to face yet, but he is the leader of the Golden Pilgrim Heroes, and that's the organization that has sponsored this. Our various characters have, through machinations and just general interactions, have gotten themselves invitations, VIP invitations, to this tournament that is going on. We had the first round of that tournament, which eliminated a number of people, but we're now in the Sweet 16 of our tournament, and we've met some of the characters, and some of them we haven't, but our players will have the opportunity to interact with them. This is going to be the next day. The next round of the tournament won't be happening until the evening. So there is plenty of time for people to go around and interact with people. With that in mind, let us start with you, Baoshi. Let's start the next day. We've had a little bit of that. They did that first round tournament into that evening, and the next day comes around. You've had a chance to talk with some people and pick up some rumors and things like that. You heard some things about Yang Maofang, who was the tournament champion last year. There are various things about how he was connected to Emerald Sky Saint and her order. Mm-hmm. And there were some people that returned, including our drunken master, the woman with the strange tricksy blade, as well as First Orchid, the investigator, in air quotes, who is hanging around, who is probably a thief. You're pretty sure she's a thief. And there are a number of other people.
And King of Pearls, who I had a conversation with.
Yes, you discover that he is going to be put in a barrel someday. Mm-hmm. So, Baoshi, would you like to start out with like meeting with the others in the morning, or do you want to move on and check out one of the characters? What do you think?
Let's see. I don't know if I've run into Song Da at all yet. Have I?
No, I think you kind of. I think that Song Da ran into Lotus, but I don't think ran into you. So yeah, let's do that next morning, kind of crossing of paths there.
Yeah.
And remind me what your feelings are towards Song Da. Good friend.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that Song has such a high opinion of me. That's one of the quickest ways to my heart is really liking me. And
of course, Song Da, you're very taken with Baoshi's assistant, Iron Lotus. So, yes. So Baoshi, you probably see Song Da with his notebook out. You see him speaking with a woman, clearly like checking in. She seems to have that bearing and marker of the Bureau of Legends as well, and she's very curt with Song Da, and then heads off. Essentially, this is your morning check-in from your senior, Song Da.
I think I'll stroll over. Songda, is that you?
Mr. Bao, oh, it's wonderful to see you again, sir. Oh, it's just marvelous. You're here. You're here for the tournament, or is there? He'll lean in very close, pen sort of, or brush sort of hovering above his notebook. Is there something going on?
I'm here for the tournament, and breakfast is going on. Perhaps I could, you would care to join me?
Oh, and he just for a second he looks a little bit disappointed, but then he brightens up. Oh yes, of course. Certainly.
If there is not always a mystery afoot, sometimes it's just an opportunity to enjoy oneself and the festivities, and, well, a mystery will tend to find one if one waits long enough.
I have to admit, it is a misconception of the nature of things that I have run across before. Reading so much of the histories and the legends, one starts to imagine that all of the legendary figures simply live from one momentous occasion to the next, because that's, of course, how they're written. And since forget all of the traveling and breakfasts in between.
Indeed, it is long stretches of naught and then moments of excitement, my dear boy. But I found a lovely little tea stand earlier when I was talking with the King of Pearls, and perhaps you would care to join me there.
King of Pearls won't be there, will he?
I think it is unlikely. It was just a chance encounter.
Very well. I suppose it's worth the risk to hear a little bit more about some of your most famous cases.
Well, I am more than willing to talk, and more eager to do so once I've had a bit of breakfast. Your companion that you were speaking with, someone for the tournament?
Oh, no. Of course, she can't fight. Well, I mean, I'm sure she could if she wanted to. She just, well, we of course swear it off.
Oh, one of your order.
Oh, yes. Did I not? That's Sister Lucia. She was is my senior in the order, the Bureau.
Oh, I see. So there are two of you here, I suppose, to take down the stories of these valiant fighters.
Well, yes, there is so much going on here. There's so many people to try and follow that one historian was not deemed sufficient to the grandeur of the occasion.
That seems to make sense. I admit I'm somewhat fascinated by the entirety of your order. Are you assigned to certain people that you will be watching out for during this tournament, and she will be looking over others, or do you both just cast the net broadly and hope that you scoop up a fine catch?
See him sort of, his cheeks flush, and he's swallowing down several responses.
Interesting. This detective seems to be hinting at you being assigned to pursue someone's secrets.
That is, I suppose, something that sounds a little familiar, as well as being off-putting.
Yeah. Do you think, this is a question for you, do you think that rises to the level of inner conflict or not yet?
I was getting ready to be rather indignant at the suggestion that I would be assigned to certain histories and not trusted with my training to understand what should be watched. Adding on top of that the layer of my actual assignment, I think that probably hits home there.
Okay. Then mark an XP, and what do you want to roll that with?
this is Wood. I think this is the training of patience and curiosity and all of those years of like instilling the knowledge of what stories, what should go after, being able to see the right history. Like that is what I'm proud of in this situation. That's what he's sort of challenging here. Oh, that's 10.
On an inner conflict from you?
I didn't know they came in 10s.
You keep yourself completely together, composed. It's early in the day. You want to impress Bao Shi, and you kind of takes a second. No, he doesn't know anything. This is just how he is. Full of questions.
Of course, inside of the Bureau, while such a question would be seen as a great offense, I can understand that you, of course, have no knowledge of our training and methods. While the youngest acolytes are guided and led and pointed towards the stories that they should be paying attention to and the moments that are important. At the culmination of that training, all of the agents of the Bureau are trusted to be able to recognize important stories and figures when they see them. So while on occasion an event may be large enough that some agents may be requested to go there, they would never be assigned a story.
I apologize. I certainly meant no offense. I merely was. I was curious if perhaps, with so many here, there would be a division. Certain areas one would look into so that paths wouldn't be crossed or time wasted. But it would seem that it is a much more intrinsic and, dare I say, empathic skill that you have.
Yes. And of course, Sister Lucian and I have worked together many times before, so we understand each other's methods. But that is, I think, one of the delights of recording history and being a part of the Bureau is that one never knows going into a situation who the next legendary figure will be. It is only the events of the situation themselves that brings one to legendary status.
That's fascinating. It almost, it seems almost like my own work. One finds oneself in a mystery, and one really doesn't know yet how to ferret it out. None hardly knows who it is that has motive, has interest, who could be so nefarious, and one just has to feel one's way through. How delightful that we seem to have these things so in common.
Yes.
So let's say that scene moves to the tea house. Let's go to Sherry, and then we'll come back, and Patrick will have you call the third scene and the sort of go around. Does that seem cool?
Sure.
And if you want to keep playing out when we come back to you, we can do that, or however you want to choose to do that. Tell me, who do we see when the camera comes to you? You are muted. And if you would put your name in your thing so I remember what color mountain you're from.
Oh, yeah, because it's all my fault. All right.
There's mauve, I think. Or
I don't want to hear your guff.
Yeah, I think who you see is Lost Song Janai.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see her. She's actually going through kind of like where the contestants have an area where they can compete and practice and warm up and all of those things. So she's actually like kind of going through there, looking around for someone. and you will see her sight Ninth Raven, and she'll sort of wait while he's doing his exercises of, essentially warming up or whatever. It sort of like kind of shifts from one foot to another, like she's very impatient and doesn't understand all this fighting, though she's actually watching like a hawk, but she pretends like she doesn't understand anything of what she's seeing.
Now, how well do you know Ninth Raven? Well, what do you think your previous encounters have been?
Well, my only previous encounter with him was when he came and asked me to look into Iron Lotus.
But and did he ask you, or did he ask your senior?
He asked me.
Ah, okay.
Because my senior was not there, and I took the information for him.
Then he will certainly, as he finishes off his things, he will see you there. And he approaches, and he does it in a way that's like he's trying to be subtle.
Really? All right.
And he sidles up to you. So, are you here investigating?
Well, I should have news for you.
Oh, already? So quickly?
Uncle says that you're correct. There are other people that corroborate your story that Iron Lotus has changed fairly significantly over the last year. He is looking into this much more closely.
Good.
I thought you would want to know.
Yes. Just to have some confirmation from an expert with this kind of thing. I felt like perhaps I was overreacting, not being a good friend, not being a good sworn brother. But this knowing that there's something amiss here, I'm very glad.
Well, I'm certain that Uncle will get to the bottom of it. He is certainly interested. So,
what do you need me to do?
She sort of stops and she looks and she goes, I understand that the contestants have some tokens for seating.
Yes.
Could you possibly give me 2 tokens? If you have that many, 1 would be fine. If not,
let me go into. Give me a moment here, and you will see him go over, and he kind of looks around, and you see him walk over to where Undaunted Zedong is, and you will see him bow respectfully, and there's a conversation, and you can see that he says something that clearly draws mock offense from her. She's like, how dare you? You can almost hear her saying, why would you think that I would have no guests to come here? Why would you think that? That's rude. And he bows, and then he says, and then he clearly then offers her some money for her tokens, and there is an exchange of cash that goes on, and he will return shortly, and he will hand these to you.
And I thank him and I say, good, then we will be able to watch and hopefully close by Iron Lotus. We will find out more.
I look forward to seeing you and your uncle at the tournament.
Yes, I'm hoping that he will have a chance to dry up before the competition starts. And she says that sort of like, ha, ha, and then she goes. But when she passes on Donna Zidong, she will stop and bow.
Do I know you?
No, I just wanted to thank you. And then she will move on.
Let's come back to Song Da. Where does this scene bring us?
I like the idea of being in the tea house, sort of like well through our breakfast, as Song Da is interrogating Bao Shi about the famous clue of the Wooden Creek, and the sort of unreported details of that. I think maybe it would be a good time to run across one of the NPCs we haven't seen yet.
Sure. I think that as you two are seated there, a couple of people come running in, and there seems to be some whispering and stuff, and then the people that they talk to come rushing out. You'll see amongst them is Guardian Fu, who was there, who you have seen, but like something has clearly happened, and people are going to watch what's going on. It has that feeling of something odd is occurring, history being made.
And so you said that they. Sorry, do you see that? I don't mean to interrupt our delving into the, but
It would seem that something is afoot.
that many people and some of them fighters in the tournament interested in what's going on the street. He's like half standing up. I mean, he wouldn't want to be rude and just leave Mr. Bao in the middle of breakfast, but
Perhaps we should take a look.
yes, of course. There's like money thrown on the table and he's halfway to the door.
Two will rush out, kind of make your way through the crowd, and you'll see the sort of dais kind of gathering area where there are some people in the VIP box are off to the side, but you'll see Chief Ouyang there, and there are some people around, including some of the other as yet unnamed tournament participants, and you see this guy who is standing there in front of Chief Ouyang. He is dressed in lovely garb, blues with kind of silver patterns on it. And he has a mask on. It's clearly metal, heavy. It has that sort of coppery patina on it. And he is standing there and he is holding out some kind of token in his hand. And as you kind of approach your ways away, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like nobody knows who he is. And you'll see Chief Ouyang take the marker and frown. What do you two want to do?
I think the song is there, just like hastily sketching a picture of that mask and the sort of like rough designs on it. This is Mr. Bao, do you recognize this person here? It's a very striking mask.
It is, and no, I do not. But he seems to be causing quite the commotion. And I'm kind of moving a little closer to see if I can overhear. I'll give a little nod towards Da to say, it is always best to observe as closely as possible.
And
Yes.
you two will kind of move closer, and you hear Chief Ouyang say, "The marker is true." But you come a day late. Well, yesterday was the first round of the tournament. Even with this, I cannot allow you to participate. And you hear this voice come to the mask. The mask kind of clearly amplifies it. And he says, "That is the mask of that is the mark of a 3-time champion." I would be permitted to even enter the finals with such a thing, but I have come here on this day. Do you turn your back on what your ancestors presented? And there's kind of a, and Ouyang says, "What is your name?" And he says, "Guo Botong." Like clearly people don't recognize the name. And he says, all right. But you will have to face 2 at the same time. to be able to move forward. He says, fair enough. And he starts to maybe bow and turn. He says, but first, remove your mask. There's a long pause. And you'll see him reach up, and he's standing close to Ouyang. So in order to see his face, you'd kind of have to be a little unsubtle to get up there. Because you do see that he is about to remove the mask.
I mean, standing on that roof behind Chief Ouyang?
Yeah, you're up there. You turn around, Bao Shi, and Songda is gone. What do you do, Bao Shi?
I am not quite so nimble. So I think I will begin kind of moving towards where someone could see this, but taking it for granted I'll get a secondhand opinion at best.
From where you're at, Songda, you'll see this figure takes the mask off, and there is a handsome young man. His skin is pale, that kind of pallidity that says to you some kind of illness. But the thing that is more striking is the smoke that pours out from behind the mask that tells you that this person suffers from a significant chi imbalance, that they have a chi condition that either they have not been able to repair or they've chosen not to repair. And people will see that, and the people in the know will kind of recognize that that's a serious thing. Either the mark of someone who is going to die, or the mark of someone who has gone so far down a particular martial path that they're starting to almost destroy themselves for their power.
Does it seem like the mask was containing it, or is this some reaction with the light?
Perfect. Like when he takes that off, it definitely is like that breaks the seal and it comes off. And Ouyang will go, put that mask back on. Clearly that disgusted, and he will return it and reaffix it to his face. And he gestures to some of the people who handle the logistics, and they come to essentially take him to the hall of preparations and all of that kind of thing for this evening. And then there's much, and you can see Ouyang is very, very disturbed. But you also see that he tucks that marker into his pocket, like the inner pocket there. He doesn't show it to anybody else. So Songda, do you return back to where Bao Shi is?
Yes. Yeah.
So you'll come down, Bao Shi. You see Songda is just there again. His lightness is astounding.
And I have moved up, kind of just inquiring amongst people to, did you see that? Did you recognize him? Did you happen to recognize the gentleman? Do I get anybody who has any knowledge of the name?
Let's have you make a study roll.
Yeah, let's. I love a roll. I think I'm being curious.
Okay.
So let's roll with wood. Oh, I've got a 6.
You've got a 6. Do you have a bond to burn?
Not with anybody that's anywhere nearby.
But luckily, I'm there to support him.
You are to throw in some bits of news and perhaps prod him to a realization. Do you want to roll comfort and support, Patrick?
Yes.
What do you want to roll that with?
I think this would be water. This would be my awareness from having just seen, as I say, Did you notice? Did you notice the imbalance in his chi? He was smoking and sublimating the very air around him. That's fair. That. Do a thing. That is another 10. I think the dice room is broken.
Well, the good news is you
Wow.
essentially get a bond with Bao that you can then burn to bump him up. And then you can let Bao have a bond with you, or you can ask Bao a question, or you can clear an element. What do you think, Songda?
So if Jamie were here, I would be very tempted to ask Bao a question about Iron Lotus. But
Yes,
without their input, I think I'll hold off on that for now.
that seems fair.
I just want to throw it out there because that's very much what I want to do. But I think instead I will give Mr. Bao a bond with me.
Bao,
Of course.
you write down a bond with
We're
Songda.
working as a great team here. I mean, I would never take Iron Lotus's place. Of course, that's not what I'm here for, and I have my own job. But look at how well we work together.
So, because we're before the mystery with the capital M has arrived, we kind of do the standard study roll. So that you could ask a question, you could make a declaration, or you could determine someone's scale.
Well, I'm trying to find out about the person, so I should probably stick with that.
Do you want to ask me a question about them, or do you want to tell me something about them?
I think I want to ask.
Okay.
Ask. Let me get you to tell me. So, I guess I'm wanting to know. I mean, like what? I suppose it would be desires, but why have they come here? Would be sort of the question I'm asking.
He bears himself like a person who is here to right a wrong or avenge something. He has that bearing here. I think that's like I think I can give you that as the basics. And I think that, like, let's put that together with what you overheard, and you think back, okay, who was the last 3-time tournament champion? And you will remember that that was actually someone, and we'll give them a name here, Cold Panther, who was implicated in the death of the master of the Green Leaves Society 15 years ago. He was one of the people who they was like caught and killed. And that name popping up again here. So it's probably
Leaf. That was the people from the last mystery as well, right?
Yeah.
Huh. And that was the last person to have won a triple.
A
championship.
three-time winner, essentially.
Do I have any understanding of like how long it would have been before that someone? I mean, is it? I'm guessing it's very, very rare. So,
Yeah, you think back and you're thinking at least you kind of know it's been around for a while, but at least a century.
all right, and this person looked fairly young.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Song,
Another child of it.
I have to say, the last 3-time champion, Cold Panther.
Cold Panther.
Cold Panther has something to do with our last little incident that you and I found ourselves in. Executed.
That
for the
Cold
previous-
Panther?
Yes. And that has been quite some time ago. This gentleman hardly looks like they would have been competing at that time. And no 3-time champion is within, well, living memory before that. So I find it highly unlikely that that token was his own.
He did speak of ancestors.
Yes, he did.
There were many rumors swirling around Cold Panther.
I believe that he has come to right a wrong. It may bear greater observation. You, my friend, may have stumbled into your grand bit of history. I may have a mystery to solve.
Fear that this mystery may not bode well for Mr. How did you say his last name, Cole?
Botong? Guao Botong.
Wow. It may not bode well for Mr. Guao. I fear he's either here to desperately seek an end to something afflicting him, or he's afflicted himself with something desperate to seek an end to what's going on here.
Well, that does seem quite interesting.
Let me cut from you two back to Janai.
Okay. So, just one little scene before, but I think there's that thing with Guao Botong being escorted back towards the competition thing, and of course, Shadai is coming away from that area, and they sort of pass by each other, and I think she sees him, and she recognizes one of the patterns that's on his clothing and also on his mask. And so she points to the symbol that she paints every morning onto her forehead, and she goes, "May the song be with you," as she passes. Just very quickly, but that kind of
quickly. Of course, time slows down to slow motion as you pass by, anime style, and then you continue on. What do you want to do? It's unusual. You'll probably get the scoop on what's happening.
Right, but afterwards, when it's too late for her to actually do anything other than a quick greeting. So I think there's a lot of things happening. I think that what she's going to do is see if she could find Chang Rogong.
She is a little harder to find in the sense that she's very clearly kind of trying to stay out of the limelight. But when she sees you, she will greet you.
She doesn't know me, right? So
Oh, that's right. No, so
Yeah.
she doesn't know who you are.
Mhm.
So you will approach, and she looks at you a little warily,
And
like,
I think
and her eyes do this thing where she very clearly checks your face and then glances down, looks at your hands,
Mhm.
checks your legs, make sure there's no hidden weapons, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, nothing of note, right? And I think that this is that last song Janai bows and she goes, "My great uncle, Blue Mountain Scholar, sent to me."
Oh, yes, I I spoke with your uncle.
Yes, yes. So he said, and he wished that I would ask you, should he be concerned that Songbird June is here?
Why would that matter?
And she sort of like looks at the sword and says, I wouldn't know. But she's clearly like, just covering up that in fact she does have some sense of it.
You want to do hearts and minds on this?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
See if you can get her to your side.
Let's see here. The other thing, okay, yes. Hardest thing is just knowing what I'm doing. Yeah, let's do this with flexibility, with kind of being a little bit faster on my feet so that I can say what she needs me to say. So I'll be adding +1 to this roll. So I'm rolling 2d6 and adding 1. It's so typical. It's a 6 total because it always is.
Do you
really
have a bond?
Do I have a bond? I think I'm all out. I am. I'm all out. That's something I got to do, is get together with my friends and work up some bonds.
Then I think that she will look at you, and it seems like she pauses and kind of like her eyes go down, and it seems like she's about to reveal something. And you will hear this voice come over, and you hear King of Pearls, and he, hello, you are the grandniece of the mountain scholar. Yes, right. It comes in, butts into the conversation, interjects himself into there. You see her kind of do this thing and go to step away. You did this, am I right?
And she goes, I'm sorry. I'm not certain who you are.
I'm a great fan. I'm a great friend of your granduncle's.
And your name? I am so sorry.
My name is King of Pearls.
And you see her look as if she's trying to open. She goes, of course.
Yes. See, your uncle and I had a great time. I happened to be present when he was investigating the murder case.
Which murder case?
The most recent one. What a thing that you should ask. Which murder case? Young woman, what kind of experiences have you been through?
I myself, very few, but my great uncle, that is sort of his business for the clan.
I understand. So you are an investigator, as I understand. Work with your uncle or have some sense of these things. Keep your eyes open, that kind of thing. Right.
I take messages. Yes.
You haven't, just by any chance, heard anything about this new entrant into the tournament? Voice cracking a little bit. Guao Botong, have you heard anything? Do you know how good he is? Anything? What have you heard?
Have I ever heard the name Botong?
No, this is like the first time you've heard this name.
Yeah, I think she kind of goes, nope.
Oh.
But I could ask my uncle.
Would you please? Yes. I would love to speak with your uncle. Tell your uncle I will buy him a drink and.
Well, that could go a long way, Mr.
Yes. Have him look me up as soon as possible.
Of course. And she will bow, and she'll look a little regretfully back at.
She's gone.
See, well, maybe that's the best thing possible. She will take her leave. But she will go and find out who this Guao Botong is.
Then let's come back to Baoshi and Songda, either together or we can split individual scenes. How do you two want to do that?
What you think? Are we sticking together for a bit? Or do you
Um,
have things you wish to go and look into?
If you want to stick together for this part, I'm good with that. But I'm definitely going to split off on my own after.
Yes, I've certainly got an NPC that's waiting in the wings for you there, Song Da. So I do have that. But
Not
Baoshi,
ominous at all.
yeah, Baoshi, what do you want to do?
Well, then it might be worth a split here, as I think I've become, my interest has become has risen about Guao Botong. So I think I'm wanting to head in the direction that that he had gone off to.
Mr.
Absolutely.
Mao, it's been a wonderful morning, and interest and mystery does seem to follow you like a whirlpool pulling into a center.
Well, hopefully we can meet back up again. I certainly would love to hear of the fascinating things that you find. Would you care to take dinner with me this evening?
Yes, that sounds wonderful. I'm so enlivened that you would ask me. Thank you.
It is my hope that I will encounter my dear friend Lost Song, and I'm sure that Iron Lotus is around somewhere. He tends to get very excited. Always the martial spirit, Iron. But perhaps you can join us for dinner.
Yes, thank you. And good hunting.
And to you.
You'll make your way over there. You've got your little VIP token, kind of get you your backstage pass for the tournament, and you'll head into that area back there, and you will see the like clearly the people who manage things are going over various tournament rules with this Guao Botong. You'll probably see that Rising Phoenix is there. But you also see this gentleman who is seated there, very nice robes, who has this cage with like a covering on it that he seems to be looking into.
What's in the cage?
Kind of step forward, look, and you can see when he kind of lifts it to check, and you see him put a leaf in there, and you can see that there are butterflies in the cage.
All right. Is this Songbird Young?
This is Songbird Young.
All right. I will because I am here on their token, I will smile and give a little wave to Rising Phoenix.
She nods in that sort of big, awkward person kind of way.
Did she fight yesterday?
Yes. So she would have won that first round.
Then I will move close enough to say, congratulations on your victory yesterday.
Yes, would have been sweeter had my friend been here.
Well, let us hope that she will arrive soon.
I hope so.
And good luck to you today. Have you seen who it is that you will be fighting?
No, not yet. They're very odd about the declaration of that. It's they only announced it about an hour beforehand.
Well, I'm sure that your fighting spirit will carry you through, and your skills will be on full display.
Well, that's a very nice thing for you to say. And you've never seen me fight.
I caught a bit of your fight yesterday.
Oh, did you? You should have said so.
Well, I suppose I should have. I did congratulate you on the win.
And then she goes, I'm sorry. So sorry. And I shouldn't be talking back to a man of your station and skill. That was rude of me.
It's quite all right. And I'll kind of be moving back. And again, good luck to you in your fight today.
Bye.
And I kind of will, as I step back, and I look over, and Batong is there, you said, correct?
Yes.
As I kind of step back and kind of am watching him, I will move closer to Songbird there.
An interesting man.
And despite my intent to keep Batong under kind of observation here and waiting for a chance to speak with him privately, I can't help but find my attention drawn as I, hello there.
Hello.
Your butterflies are lovely.
How kind of you to say. Come and sit. I will open the cage a little more so you can look inside.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I am Bao Shi, a private detective.
Your name is not unknown to me.
Oh, well, that is quite flattering that my reputation has gotten spread so broadly.
You're a detective.
Well, yes. You are?
My name is Songbird Yun.
It's a great pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is mine. Though I must confess, I've met some detectives and not been enamored of my interactions with them.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. There are some who I have met whose, well, civility is sorely lacking.
I came to them to ask for aid with a case, and I was turned away. I did not have the money or resources or position to make that kind of call.
How uncouth.
Yes.
For a true detective, it is the hunt that is most important, not payment.
What an interesting way to see things.
Was this case ever resolved?
No, it was not. I still seek out.
Well, perhaps I could be of some service.
Let's have you make a hearts and minds here. I think he's still little. We established yesterday that he's still a little gun shy about detectives, but you are a handsome man, an interesting man.
I am probably more interesting than handsome, but let's see. This.
Oh no! Look at that cast. You're a good-looking guy.
Well, we'll see how it goes, because this is probably presents, so that's going to be at a -1. It's a 7. That's not bad.
So he'll say, my brother vanished, reappeared, vanished, reappeared multiple times. But this last vanishing was 3 seasons ago, and I have not heard word of him. I asked, but the parable of the boy who cried wolf. It is a little like that. They do not take my assurances that something has happened to my brother seriously.
Well, that is very unfortunate. A bond between brothers is quite strong. Often they will know intrinsically if there is something wrong.
And just so that I am not leaving something out that you should know, I should tell you that my brother was not a well-regarded man.
I see.
Some might even malign him and call him a villain.
Do you feel that this is the case?
No, he is my brother.
However, sometimes it is brotherly love that clouds one's eyes. I do not wish to imply that.
I hope you are not implying.
Yeah, but
we do not know each other well enough to go to that level of implication.
What I am trying to bring up is it possible that he would have created enemies who would have done him harm?
Yes, he was a Wulin like myself.
I see. His name?
A songbird Rao. Which, of course, you know that name because
Yeah.
you were told that your friend that you met, Cheng Ro Gong, she has his sword.
Yes. Are you familiar with Sheng Rogong?
I know the name. She's one of the participants in the tournament, though I have not met her. It's unusual.
Do you know if she had any history with your brother?
No, why would you ask that? Do you know something?
Well, yes, actually.
Tell me. Now, hands come on the table with almost a clap, an intensity there. You hear the butterflies stop beating their wings. They get very still. What do you know?
I would ask that you keep your emotions in check when I tell you this. But I believe that she is in possession of your brother's sword.
He is up. That bench has flown back several feet. He smashes against a post and breaks in half.
That does not seem like a troll.
I made you no promises. You will excuse me, Master Baoshi. I have business to attend to.
I urge you, do not do something you will regret.
It is better to regret something you have done than something you have not done.
That is not always true.
He will storm away. It is that phrase that is a justification for all kinds of terrible things.
Yeah.
Let's pause here. Let's take a break. We'll come back with Song Da, and then we'll come back to Janai. Okay? So let's go to the 30 after. So let's come to you. I think I said Janai first, and then Song Da.
Or vice versa, I think.
Okay.
Song Da.
Okay. Song Da, you are walking away now, kind of a little bit taken up by the thoughts of who this new contestant is, who you want to talk to, that kind of thing. And there'll be that moment when you are bumped hard, shoulder checked in this figure that does not, like, clearly expects you to get out of the way and kind of knocks you back. And when you haven't stepped out of the way, he turns, and you've seen Skycast Red, like people have pointed him out to you for the tournament things, and he looks at you and his hand goes to his blade, like he's strong really high.
Excuse me, sir. You seem to have not seen me walking there.
You should know better than to get in the way of your betters. Where's your blade?
Well, and I'll pull out my ink brush. I use a more refined tool.
And you see him, he's drawn something, and he clearly is itching for a fight. Like you can smell the testosterone off of him. And he draws his blade. And people get back in that way that says that, oh, this is not unusual. Skycast Red likes to beat people up, kind of thing. Yeah, that sound happens. Somebody steps on a cat.
Excuse me, sir. You seem to have misunderstood the situation. Now I'll pull out a notebook beside the brush.
Do you wish to de-escalate this, or do you wish to demonstrate that the brush is mightier than the sword?
I've had multiple people, one within the past day, stomp all over the good name of the Bureau of Legends, and it is a great name, one that does not deserve so much stomping. And I will say, in case you have not been educated properly, I am Songda, a member of the Bureau of Legends, a group that is welcomed and honored in all places that we go, for the histories that we write, for the legends that we record.
All right. What do you want? What is your intent? What do you want to roll? Do you want to roll the sword stained, or are you trying to use your historian move? Which does this lean into? What do you want to have happen? Keep in mind, people have been knocking you hard for the last few days.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the sword stained with royal blood, as he doesn't appear to be, instantly mollified and sorry like I'm expecting him to be.
Yeah.
I'll say,
he's clearly going to say something like, "You talk too much."
You obviously, not having learned the history of the Wulin world, are unfamiliar with the sad and tragic story of Wei Wuxian, a great and noble member of the martial world, at least we imagine, because of course all that anyone, anywhere, knows of Wei Wuxian is that after insulting the Bureau of Legends too many times, all of his deeds, all of his accomplishments, all of the details of his life were erased as if he had never been. The only clue left to his existence is name, as a warning against those who would try to step upon the Bureau.
Let us have you roll. What do you want to roll to change this into a good old social duel here?
I think this is in with my fighting, and it's certainly passion as his feelings are rising to the fore here. So I'm going to go with fire. Jeez, that's an 11.
That's an 11. So people are doing that thing where they're laughing and clearly, like, he realizes he's in a bad position and he hesitates. Now, he is your scale. He's a tournament person. He's been here before. You're a member of the Historical Society, but people don't know you. So I'm thinking you're on the same scale for this social duel. He does put his blade away, kind of as an admission. What do you want to roll that with?
I will think I will say, that is a wise move, my good friend, as you seem to have recognized that this brush, the ink that stains it, and the paper that it drips upon, are far more powerful than any dull and rusty hunk of metal that you may fruitlessly carry at your side. And I'm going to continue with fire. Burn his ass. Well, that's less awesome, but it's an 8.
Okay, you can win at a cost, stalemate, or give ground.
What's
Influence
We
is
haven't
a,
played with that.
yeah, so this is on the social duel under other moves courtly. Let me pull this up here if I can. Copy. See if I can post it in here. Paste. Oh, of course not, because it's too long. If they're on the same scale here, copy. Zoop. Now, the mechanic that we have here is influence. Because you're doing a social duel, and because of that, by default, you start with 1 influence.
Okay.
Influence can be spent on social moves to give yourself a +1 for each influence you spend. You can't spend a combination of bonds and influence unless the move says you can.
Gotcha. So I don't have 3 between bonds or influence to spend. I don't have a friend here to sacrifice, nor do I think I would immediately throw 1 in on this. Make a promise that disrupts one of your entanglements. What might that look like?
So let's look at your entanglements. You might call on, let's look at here. You might call out Sister Lucian or Indigo Judgment, like call on their names. They're a little more high positioned. That might cause you some problems later. Essentially, you are drawing on their influence to give you the win there.
I sort of like the idea of drawing on Sister Lucian's name, especially since I was going to ask her for a favor coming up here. So that would be an especially poor choice.
You want to do that?
Yes. As I'll say, perhaps even in your oafish lack of intelligence, you have heard of the mighty scholar Sister Lucian. She herself is in this very city now. And did you know that she has final editing privileges over all of the histories written about competitions in this region? I would hate to see your name crossed off of the list of competitors here.
Does this seem like a fair result? Is that you see him, and everyone is staring at him. I apologize. I'm not myself this morning. Please accept my apology for having bumped into you and overreacted.
That depends. Does he bow?
He does. Not the biggest bow, but he does bow, that kind of this is as much as his stiff spine will allow him. You stand up a little straighter so it looks even deeper.
I appreciate that there are many distractions, especially for a contestant here at the tournament. I would hate to see a simple misunderstanding on the street affect your future so harshly. Of course, I will forgive you, since you have apologized so eloquently and publicly.
Thank you. I will take my leave.
It's not laughing. It's definitely not laughing.
Yeah. And you see some people, been watching, and he heads away. And the one thing you'll definitely hear people say is, that's the way he's been since last year. Just eating at his soul.
So much went on last year. I should have been here.
So we'll come back to you. Lost Song Jinai. Yes.
I just wanted to say, looking through the 10+ options there on the same scale, it just amuses me that it could have led immediately back into a physical conflict, having gone from physical to social. It could go back.
It'd be you could have done that. Yeah, it would have been weird. Jinai.
Yeah, I know. I think that she has essentially, she is running errands for her great uncle, ostensibly. So one of the things that she does is she actually goes to the smith to pick up the blades. Again, she's had them because they're those thin, flexible blades. She has to keep them like absolutely clear of nicks and stuff because they're prone to breaking if they aren't like looked at immediately and things like that. And since she actually had a pretty nasty fight with Master Sun, they needed some fixing. So she goes to pick those up and she's carrying them away. And she has the standard, big set of parcels that you have when you're running errands for someone. And
I think that you will hear this voice shout out, "That is outrageous! That is robbery! That is outrageous!"
Oh, well, that sounds interesting. I want to know what's outrageous.
You will look over, and you're at you see one of the restaurants that's very near the tournament grounds, and you will see that woman, Emerald Sky Saint. And she is standing up from her meal, and she has clearly been presented a bill, and she clearly, she seems rattled.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I'm from Blue Mountain sect, and she is clearly from Black Mountain, where the Sky Saints are from. And so we are sisters of mountains. So I will go and say, may I help?
And she kind of looks, and
she goes, I am Lost Song Janai of Blue Mountain sect.
She bows. I am Emerald Sky Saint of Black Mountain.
Well, then we should help each other.
This merchant has presented me with a bill that is outrageous. Madam, these are tournament prices. You came in, as you know. This is.
And your prices are posted?
We haven't had a chance to change the board yet.
Oh, well, then that could be very problematic. I mean, if someone were to call in any of the magistrates, which would, of course, be an overreaction to this tiny misunderstanding. I'm certain that we could work this out.
Let us do the yes, we will do pre-tournament. It's a gift to you, kind ladies.
Thank you. We will certainly speak well of you and your establishment.
And he'll present a more modest bill. And you can see Emerald's, I think, kind of, you have the sense that you know that the Black Mountain folks are very isolated. So she's a little bumpkiny, and you guess that's how she got marked out.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And you see, like she goes through a person, does that thing where she's kind of counting out her things.
And she goes, oh, no problem. And I'll say, you can put it on our tab, and I'll have it put on my great uncle's tab.
She said, thank you.
She goes, let's go get some tea and have some proper sweets.
Oh, that would be.
I mean, if that won't get in the way of the competition for you.
I do not fight until this evening.
Oh, well, then definitely tea and sweets, yes?
Thank you.
I've been shopping all day, so, and I know that you have to get ready, so I don't want to take too much of your time.
And she will go with you. And we cut to a scene, with the rice buns and the dango and whatever out there, sesame seeds and things. And
yes, all sorts of the sort of, yes, the sweet, the honey, light.
And she will say, this is very kind of you. She's wolfed down a couple of these things and drunk some tea. I have, though, taken advantage of you.
What way?
I lied before.
To whom?
To you.
What do you mean?
I said that I was from Black Mountain, which is technically the truth, but I am exiled, and I am no longer a member of Black Mountain.
But you were raised on the mountain, and so was I. We still have to stick together.
True, but you should know that I'm a fallen person.
Are you here to win back your position? Take your vengeance? Make it right?
I cannot win back my position. That is not a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps there will be some justice.
Against whom do you seek justice?
Pardon?
Against whom do you seek justice?
And you'll hear a kind of a loud rumbling and people passing, and you'll see Yang Mofeng and his entourage striding through, and you see her eyes narrow as she watches him pass.
Oh, him. There are many people who would like to see his downfall.
None more than I.
Is there anything I can do to assist you?
I cannot bring you into my plots, but I appreciate your kindness.
I'll keep my ears open.
She kind of stands and she says, he is a devil.
That can be taken many ways. I'm from Blue Mountain, and I know the sense of the literal devils, and I know the sense of the metaphorical devils. Where does Mofang stand?
He is the devil. And she will bow. Do you want to do a study roll?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because that is always the thing I fail. So,
Exactly. That's why I was offering it. I was like, you know what? I don't think Sherry, we've gotten a lot
yes,
of high level rolls from Song Da.
I know, and I
that
have it.
been-
So I've got to balance them all out. So here I
Exactly.
am. I'm actually going to use probably my best one because this really is the thing at heart, right? So I will roll with, I think it's water. I don't know. I'm making these things up. I still don't. Character. Yes, I'm going to roll with earth. That's it. Focus and caution. So 2d6 plus 2. I rolled a 3 because I can still fail these things.
So what does that
I
give
mean,
you?
a 3 plus 2 gives me a 5.
Gives you a 5. And what do you have bonds?
I have no bonds, though, because I've not been able to meet up with my fellows.
In that case, I think that
It happens.
I want you to mark it, that element that you rolled with.
Ooh, ouch.
This is a study, so could she use one of the shadows?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to use a shadow to bump it up her level?
Oh, wow, that's really weird. Yeah, that's a good one. You know what? How about a betrayal shadow?
Okay.
Like she starts to get distracted, and then all of a sudden, she remembers this. Okay, but now I got to come up with something awesome.
Mhm.
So a flashback to betrayal. So I do think that we go back and you see Los Angeles is clearly much younger, maybe 11 or 12. And she has a lot of her cousins and the like around. And the thing that's notable is her uncle is there and her great uncle is there, and he's sort of seated there. He's like of high honor in the family, and all of the adults are sort of circulating around him, but he's very displeased with them, as he always is. And he's, and essentially family things are always not what he's about. So the adults have set up a contest for the children because they want to demonstrate who the clever ones are to please him. And essentially, there's that sort of thing of you have a set of scenes of Janai figuring things out, finding the pieces, and in the end, she goes to like she's there with one of her cousins, and she goes, "Look, this is what I found. What did you find?" And it's an older cousin, like, and she's standing there, and her aunt, the mother of that child, takes what Janai has and hands it to her son and sends him up to get the laud. And Janai doesn't even know what to say. And there's just that sort of thing of her standing there, and she's like crying because she's found the things, and then her aunt's taking them away from her.
Oh,
So
killing me. Yeah, you have a flashback to that. So that'll get you to a 7 and 9. I mean, this, you can see, like, confirmed that this is a woman who has had her heart broken, and that has turned to murder. And you can see by the threadbare nature that, yeah, she definitely has not been back to Black Mountain in some time. What's your question?
what did Milfing ask of her that is the real betrayal?
If she had just taken a lover and had that and been through that, she could return to Black Mountain, probably with some, heartbreak and so on. But she showed him the techniques of Black Mountain. And that is why she can never return, because she gave up those secrets.
All right. That's pretty terrible.
And she kind of looks at you in that way that she can almost tell that you know, and she says, "I must go."
Rooting for you.
And she will leave. Bao Shi, you set some things in motion last time.
I did. And I almost feel a little bad about it. I think that I'm a little afraid that this could lead to terrible bloodshed rather than an enlightening conversation, which is what I would hope it would be leading to. So I think I should follow.
Okay. You will move out, and you see him move around. I need you to make an overcome roll.
I would rather, or I
Ooh.
would like to use my demon catcher.
Ooh, excellent. That's in fact the perfect thing, because he's going to try and shake you.
Mm-hmm. And I think that this is probably awareness, wisdom, and flexibility, I suppose. So I think it'll be water.
Okay.
Let's see if I can roll well. Come on, baby. That's an 8. That's livable.
So we stalk someone quietly. On a hit, they have no sense of your presence before you appear. So you will find him in a tent, kind of peek through, and he is not there with Cheng Rogang, but you see that he is speaking with a person who, just based on description, you will identify as Yang Mofeng. Yang Mofeng's entourage are around, and they seem to be in some kind of hushed conversation there.
That's not very good. Can I sneak around to where maybe I can eavesdrop a bit on the conversation?
Yeah, let's have it. This will be an overcome here to get yourself into kind of position, or maybe we'll do study. Let's do that roll.
All right. Let's see. I think I'll be rolling. I guess with wood. This seems curiosity, patience. Let's try that. That's another 8.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of the conversation that you pick up. They won't see you, but I'm going to give you some fragments, like a useful impression rather than the full details. How does that sound?
That sounds fine.
Move over, and you hear Yang Mofeng laughs. Well, yes, I can do that. It's a pity that you can't do it with your own blade. And Songbird don't go, do not mock me. Do not mock me. We've made a bargain. I will do what I said. You will have your victory. Then I will give you what you want. But maybe I'll keep the blade. And that kind of gets quiet in there, and Songbird goes, We will see what we will see.
All right.
And he leaves. Like real tension there.
I think it may be a good idea if I find Shang-Rogan.
Okay. Well, do you want to make the roll to hunt her down since she is trying to evade being spotted as well?
Oh Lord, my goodness. But would that be the demon catcher again, or is
Yeah.
that an overcome? That's demon catcher. Okay.
Yeah, you got that skill.
All right. Let's see. I think this has more to do with me figuring out where she might be than it would be some of the more awareness and stuff.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think this will be metal. All right. That's a 9. I am all over the middle.
Well, and that's the thing is it's actually with that move, it's great. You do a pop up and find her. And you're not in a position where you can do an ambush, but
No.
you know,
But I do have a +1.
yeah. And she is clearly like off the beaten path, sitting and drinking wine, which doesn't seem like a great thing to be doing on the day of a tournament.
I will step out and hello. Let's see. What would be the appropriate sort of honorific to give?
I think Lady Cheng would be
Okay.
the most honorable. She
Greetings,
does kind
Lady
of
Cheng.
goes to stand and she will say, Master Baoshi, I did not realize that this is you were here at the tournament.
Yes, I was invited by Rising Phoenix, and I do enjoy a chance to see the festivities. I haven't had
That very tall woman.
Yes, very tall and quite loud. But
Come and sit. We will have a drink with me.
Of course, you are here. I hope I'm not interrupting. Reflecting, preparing yourself for your fight.
Clearing my mind. Then I have a few hours to practice and work it out of my system this afternoon.
See, I have not had the opportunity to see you since our last meeting, but I'm glad to see you're well.
I am. There's a strange events taking place, but you and your companion certainly solved the problem admirably.
Well, it is my belief that a little bit of thought and perhaps a little creativity and any mystery can be solved. I admit I was hoping to find you.
And why is that?
Can I ask you a question?
I think that itself is a question, so I must say yes.
Your sword. It is very distinctive.
And you say that she's gone to some trouble to kind of wrap it and conceal it, but she knows that you and your companion saw it at the thing, and she goes, "Well, I cannot fault you for that observation."
I have reason to believe that it was once in the possession of Songbird Row. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Were you aware that his brother is here at the tournament?
I have come to be aware of that, yes.
In passing, he mentioned that his brother has disappeared. Curious, do you happen to know what befell him?
Yes.
Would you be willing to tell me?
If I tell you, will you promise not to tell anyone else?
Yes, I think that it is important for me to know far more than it is necessary for me to convey that information.
Master Bao Shi, I killed Songbird Rao. He is dead.
I had imagined as much. Can I ask the circumstances?
I would rather not dwell on those.
I understand, but I hate to push, but I certainly would not. I would not want to leave our little meeting thinking that he was murdered. Was this in a duel?
What weapon do you use, Master Bao Shi?
Wisdom is my weapon. Knowledge.
Then I think it would be wise for you not to ask any further on this.
I see. Then let me convey a warning. I believe that Songbird Yun has arranged for Yang Mo Fang to initiate vengeance upon you.
To kill me?
I cannot say for certain. Perhaps humiliate. Perhaps simply retrieve this blade.
Well, we will see about that, won't we?
I suppose we will.
She stands?
Before she leaves, is it possible for me to get off my tracing shadow?
Absolutely.
Right. This definitely is calculation. This is definitely going with my metal.
You have a +1 on this.
And I have a +1 on this. That is a 12.
That is a 12. She is here with First Orchid. Like they were both at the thing before, but it just, you had this, let me be like a fragrance, a whiff of the perfume that tells you that they are like, I'm going to say in league. But I think the other thing that you will realize, you kind of look at this, is she doesn't want to be doing this, but when you saw Songbird June, he had a sword that looked a little bit like this sword, but different. And there's something about the sword, like whatever she's doing is about those blades. And you have the sense that it's not just one blade, it's not just two blades. Like there are a number of these puzzle blades.
Mm.
And you would guess that what she's bearing is not just Songbird Row's blade, but Songbird Row's blade and the pieces of a few other of these blades.
She's trying to reunite them all, perhaps. Excellent. Thank you.
She will bow and leave. Should we do a group scene again to kind of bring us back together as we get into sort of late afternoon before we get to the tournament rounds and or rather the announcement of the lineups and things? Since you invited Song Da to dinner, let's assume that the three of you meet at this restaurant.
I finally get to meet Song Da then.
Yeah, I was thinking. I was thinking I hadn't run across Lost Song last time.
And I've sent messages to try and find Iron Lotus, but
right,
just seems to be in the wind at the moment. I'm guessing enjoying all of the festivities.
And Lowell just says like an in-between thing.
Sure.
Before the dinner. I think Da will find like a quiet alleyway to step into. He reaches into his robes and pulls out a small like lacquered box. And when he opens it, there is a moth that sort of like wakes up and flutters its wings a bit. He will pull out his brush and just very delicately paint two symbols, figures, one on each wing. And then he'll lean down and sort of whoosh, 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 whisper to it. And we'll send it fluttering off to find Sister Lucian and ask her.
Nice.
But that can come at any time.
Absolutely. And so the three of you will be given a private room for your dinner, a kind of low table, great plates of food are set out before you. Master Baoshi, it is so good for you to attend our restaurant again. Very, very good to see you. Thank you once again for finding out who poisoned our cook. It was just what an amazing. Has Master Baoshi told you the story of the larcenous cook and their twin brother? It was a story. I could not unravel it, and he took a few looks and then he had it.
Thieving twins! I must know the details.
It was footwear. As it turns out, I put the best foot forward and the mystery was solved.
Oh, see, why won't you tell us the real story?
Song, I don't think you've had a chance to meet my dear friend. This is La Song Shadai.
Oh.
You are Song Da. My great uncle has mentioned you.
Yes, I recently spent some time with him under less than ideal circumstances, but he was a fine companion for them nonetheless.
Those are usually the circumstances that one finds my great uncle. Yes. Like Baoshi, he goes to where the trouble is. And you, Song Da? Is that your pattern as well?
I go certainly where the action is. Trouble I try to stay out of, but observing trouble is usually fairly interesting.
Do you consider yourself a detective or merely an observer?
Oh, I don't have nearly the analytical mind of someone like Mr. Bao. I wouldn't dare call myself a detective in front of him, but rather than uncovering the mysteries, I like to believe I write down the truth as I see it.
The truth is part of solving the mystery. I would love to see some of your most recent annotations. There's a lot happening in the city.
It is a busy tournament. So, I had heard that you and your granduncle were usually inseparable. If you're here, does that mean that he's here in town?
He is, a lot of times when he comes back from, how should we say, a situation, he will spend a little time out of the company of people who know him. He needs to unwind. You can tell she's being very polite about it.
Oh, yes, I imagine it is wise for someone to adopt new habits as they grow wiser with
Your
time.
habits? He's always taken to having a few days of drink after. And she sort of stops and goes, I mean,
Oh,
I have never known him otherwise, but perhaps your records go back further. He's terrifically old.
perhaps I misread them.
All right.
He gets very much that look when you say drink of like, oh, okay, that sounds more familiar.
She's trying to put together what you thought she might have meant.
Well, it's been a very eventful day. Lost, what do you think of the tournament thus far?
Ooh, it's full of drama. So much drama. I ran into Emerald Sky Saint today.
Really?
She means to have her vengeance upon Yang Move.
Oh, vengeance seems to be the dish du jour.
Oh, yes, I think so.
Whom does she seek vengeance against?
Yang Move.
Really?
It's an ambitious vengeance.
Well, we all know. I mean, the story is around town is that he killed people in the competition and was particularly humiliating. So I don't think that's a particularly rare reason to come to compete, is it?
No, I just mean that going after a tournament champion, well, they've already proven themselves many times against many foes.
I would say he seems a rather nasty sort and involved in a bit of a vengeance plot that I myself have rather stumbled into.
Do
Do you happen to remember when I will start by speaking at Lost Song and then kind of catch myself and look over towards Song Da. Do you remember when we were at our last little meeting that Chingragong was present there, carrying a rather unusual blade?
Of course,
Great.
I remember Mr. Bao.
Great uncle mentioned her.
Oh, did he?
He always notices the pretty ladies. And she is quite lovely. I want to introduce myself.
Well,
He had some concerns for her safety.
that blade belongs to belonged to the brother of Songbird Young, who is here at the tournament and who has been seeking out some information about his brother's disappearance. And he said that he had contacted some other detectives who were less than polite in his inquiries.
They were less than polite.
I believe that my uncle did not have, how should we say, he does not usually assist those in the Wulin world that he considers to be villains and the Songbird brothers are not of the highest reputation.
You'd say your uncle has drawn a fairly accurate conclusion about this one.
Well, you had not mentioned that it was your great uncle that he spoke of, but he did not seem particularly villainous to me. Indeed, he seemed like a grieving brother. He did, however, mention that Roe was of a darker reputation. And he has asked the assistance of Mofang in producing his vengeance and perhaps retrieving his brother's sword.
Not do it himself?
No, and that I find somewhat peculiar, but
Must have some sense of being overmatched then.
perhaps, or there was something maybe deeper.
I would warn you, Mr. Bell. I, of course, would never question your analytical eye, but I would be careful where this one is concerned.
Well,
Songbird June, as I have seen him, betrays rather violent tendencies and a poor lack of judgment.
I can't disagree with that. I saw a bit of the temper, and I definitely believe I saw some of the bad judgment. But I bring this up because the sword that Yun carries, his brother's former sword, both of these are of unusual make.
Yes, my great uncle recognized the one that Jane Rogan was carrying.
And I believe that there are others of this type. In fact, I rather believe that Cheng is attempting to assemble something of these swords together. I believe she has already, in fact, managed to accumulate several pieces of other swords of this type. Perhaps
Sort of thing might she be assembling?
yeah,
A master
Perhaps.
weapon, a key.
this is very possible. And maybe, just maybe, there is someone aiding her in this. Our old friend Orchid?
Was she the diplomat?
I don't think you had the opportunity. Well, I'm not sure. Have you ever encountered her? She styles herself a detective.
Hmm.
Sometime I encountered her at the terrible murder that we investigated some weeks back. She was no detective.
Oh, my uncle said that she was a thief.
Your uncle is terribly blunt.
He found it amusing because she was a pretty little thing.
I think that it is likely that, that Chig is on the hunt for these swords.
That would imply that they thought that there might be one at Sun Goyang, at the Sun residence, correct? Or the school?
It's possible.
Hmm.
Of course, all that attended were by invitation. Lost Song, I suppose you just weren't given an invite at that particular moment.
Don't worry. Of course, members of the Bureau do not require invites. They are understood.
So I take it. What was it that brought that to your attention, though?
Who brought that to my attention?
She's actually asking Sangda that you ended up at the Sun School.
Oh, well, I was in the area for other work, and I noticed several masters walking down the road. And of course, where several masters go together, well, more tend to come. They flock like ravens, like very violent ravens.
There's a brief flashback to you in the bushes, listening in on a Blue Mountain Scholars meeting.
Yes. She goes, oh, so you simply saw Baoshi and the others and followed them?
Yes, and others.
Interesting. Wow. This is very puzzling. I suppose.
The hour is growing late. It's almost time to head to the tournament.
All right. So have you laid your wagers?
I try not to overextend my accounts too much in gambling, but out of courtesy to my host, I have put a small wager on Rising Phoenix.
Oh, well, I should do the same when I get there. But I will admit, I saw a new contender going by today that I hadn't noticed before. And he has, and she sort of points to her forehead, there's these symbols on his regalia as well. So it's lucky for me.
Oh, I believe that Song Da and I may have had a moment to encounter him as well.
Yes, did you not hear the rumors about the new contender, Gao Botong?
That was Gao Botong? Oh, interesting. Well, I put some money down on him.
Oh,
hopefully I'll win.
I suppose you'll have a chance to judge the strength of his vengeance, as he too has come seeking to right old wrongs.
Ooh. And she sort of stops. What old wrongs? Do tell.
He carried a 3-time champion's token.
And this is the thing, is Song goes, you mean Cold Panthers? Like, she knows it right away.
And I'll sort of smile, and it is unlikely that there are very many floating around, and that is certainly the last.
Songda has his notebook immediately in hand, like there was no reaching for it. It just almost appears in his hand, and he leans in and says, "What do you know of Cold Panther?"
And she sort of stops and she goes, in the Wulin, he was not one of the righteous, nor was he one of the unorthodox. He was neutral and highly skilled and respected by everyone. When those murders occurred, the style of it and the fact that the master was so easily overcome, Cold Panther was accused. My great uncle had nothing to do with that accusation and could not be there for the investigation. So he has little more to add to that.
Such infinite knowledge. You must have been just a child when all this happened.
Oh, he talks all the time. Stories.
It seems that the fallout from the Sun case has very, very long tendrils.
Lots of next generation vengeance. I wonder how Yang Mo Feng ties into all of this.
Hmm.
Gonna move the scene forward.
Yeah, no, yes, let's do it.
I'm
We
gonna
didn't
send.
manage to build you any bonds.
I think each of you should take a bond with each other from that scene. We did a nice
Okay.
scene. I think you should each of you take one bond with the two other persons present.
That sounds great.
You can have
I
more
have to
than
write
one.
a new
correct?
entry
Yep.
for Lost Song Chennai.
Yeah. Now, Tyler, I'm
It's
about
a
to send
completely
you.
different person.
Tyler,
Exactly.
I'm about to send you a message, Tyler.
All right.
There's a and you need to answer this question because it'll determine what happens next.
Oh, dear. Ooh.
Mysteries.
Give me 2 seconds just to look.
I know.
Hmm. I don't like that one too much. I think that's gonna cost. I think that's the fun thing. So I will answer.
So we will see you gather the tournament. We'll see Chief Ouyang there. We see the people gathered, and it's only now that is revealed to the general public, like who the lineups are. Most of them are named NPCs versus unnamed NPCs, so we know who's going to win there. But one that is in question is Undaunted Zedong versus Ninth Raven. Who's going to win on that? And then another thing that you will get name-wise is that by coincidence, Yang Mo Feng is scheduled to go up against Cheng Rogang. But the first thing that happens is you will see Chief Ouyang call out two of the tournament people. One who uses metal hoops, that kind of big metal circles to block, and then they can turn it around and stuff. The other one who is using like tiger claws, and they will come out, and then you'll see Guo Botong will be called out, and essentially Chief Ouyang says, you two, once you have defeated Guo Botong, then we'll decide which of you will continue on. But for now, it is the two of you versus this new entrant to prove that he can overcome these obstacles and is worthy of entering in at this late date. And they nod. They clearly know each other, like they've been chosen because they are people that know each other. And they do that thing where they kind of step off, and start to move so that they can kind of pincer him. And you see Guo Botong steps forward, and he draws out not the classic, sort of straight sword, but one of those bigger blades with the hook angled to it. There's that whole worked pommel and bit that goes along, all that kind of coloration matching that mask. It's a big blade.
Is it like one of those big, thick, heavy ones?
Yeah, like he
Okay.
ought to be using two hands to swing this, but he's using one. And you see him wait as they charge in, and he is fast with this blade, and he is able to control the flow of the fight, moving around them, pushing them in the direction he needs to go. The guy with the hoops, one of the classic things is to try and use that to catch the blade out. And there is one of those moments where he does catch that, and Botong like actually throws him such that it slides off of the blade. And then he spins, and he uses the flat of the blade to strike the guy with the tiger claws on the side of the head. And you can hear the sound of the crack of it. Even though it's the flat of the blade, you're not sure if that guy's going to survive. He drops, and Botong moves quickly over to the guy who's getting up with the rings, and he just says, "Stay down." Points the blade at him, shakes it once. It's got those rings on the back, so he shakes it once to make that kind of sound with it, and the guy lays his rings down, and there will be, and then there is the sort of clearing of that, and the next one is Cheng Rogong and Yang Mofeng, and they will be called out, and you will see Cheng Rogong comes out, stands there. You can, the other contestants are not out here to watch these fights. And then you will see this person comes running up to Chief Ouyang, runs up, like clearly this is out of order, and he's dead? And you will hear like he looks around, and he strides down to follow this guy, and I assume the three of you like fall in behind him, and you will make your way through that sort of maze.
Yeah, I let Bao Shi pull me along. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. There'd be that maze of sort of, remember this is all curtains and things, and to go, and eventually you would come to a curtain, and you can see there's blood on it, and they'll pull the curtain back, and you will see the body of Yang Maofeng, and you can see that his throat has been slit.
Wait, wasn't he out there?
No, he didn't come out when he was called.
Oh.
And everyone freezes and looks, and that's what we're going to take up next time.
Excellent.
Yang Maofeng, didn't have a chance to talk with him, but you know what everybody thought of him. And he is dead. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you all 3 XP. And then if you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sherry, let me start with you.
Let's see, stars, lots of great NPCs, lots of great ways to get introduced to the contestants and the people that are in there. So, and awesome tangles. So very fun. Enjoyed all of that. I will always love that. Super enjoyed Song does say taking Skycast Red to task, and Bao Shi's what should we say, enamorment with Songbird June, just saying something that was so clearly deadly to someone. Like blorp, and I was like, oh no. It was awesome. So really good things. Wishes, I don't know. I'm looking forward to Jamie being back, and sort of hitting this mystery on all four wheels. I think it will be good.
Okay. Patrick, stars, wishes?
I also enjoyed all of the twisty backplots and vengeances and everything. It seems almost like none of the competitors are here to actually fight in the tournament. They're all here to exact vengeance for old grudges, and it's delicious. As a very small thing at the end, I really loved Woe using that giant sword, because if there's one thing that I regret from Ancient Detective is when Zhang stopped using that giant stupid hunk of metal sword.
Yes. Absurdly, obscenely large.
It was great. I was sad to see it go, so I'm happy to see it here. Sherry, I love the decision to stick with Lost Song Janai. To have her come forward and be a character, and I don't know how effective Song Da is being at his mission to uncover Blue Mountain Scholar's secret, but I'm enjoying all of the like awkward conversation and dancing around it, and the quirked eyebrows and all is very fun. And Tyler, as I said, I would never want to take Iron Lotus's place, but it was fun to play the sort of detective duo a bit with Baoshi. That was very enjoyable. Wishes, I am super into Guo Botong's story. He is mysterious and refuses to reveal anything of his real motivations, and he's very handsome, and all of that has just hooked me. I'm into it, here for it. I am also looking forward to encounter and probable fallout from Sister Lucian next time.
Yeah, we got to remember
Just
that.
had the sort of briefest passing with her. Now I've used her name in ways I shouldn't, and I'm coming wanting information, so looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Also looking forward to having Jamie back, so we can get back into complicated romance-y feels rather than just complicated vengeance feels. Oh, also loved getting a chance to get some of Da's aggression out in that lovely little social smackdown.
Excellent. Tyler?
There are so many twisty plots going on, and watching you lay them out was really masterful and very interesting. I don't know what the mystery we are, I'm guessing this murder, of course, is obviously our mystery, but there's so many other things that I'm way more interested in this asshole getting killed. There's so much color and so much texture to all these people and all the things going on, and it's really just wonderful how you laid it all out. Sherry, I thought that it was really sweet to see you with Emerald Sky. I thought that whole interaction was really it was lovely. I thought it showed what a nice person Lost Song is. I also really like how you deal with oh yes, my granduncle told me this, and that old lush, and all of these sort of just the dancing around of keeping the identity is just so much fun. It is so cool.
That moment of like, oh, but he always goes out drinking. Oops, was great.
It was wonderful. Patrick, I thought there were several really cool moments. I liked us working together. I think it's really cool when we see Song Da's like poof, there, his, you know, seeing him do cool shit's fun. I thought the telling off the guy and the social dueling was really nice.
Yeah.
I like the earnestness of Song Da. There's just it's a really cool character. It's really fun all throughout. There was so much neat from it. I do realize that there are so many songs in our it's hard to song, keeping these names going is something. But I love the way we interact together too. I think there's just a lot of fun in our interactions, and it will be even better once we have Jamie back. For wishes, I am all about those swords. I want to know more about the Trixie swords. And I don't know if we have time to do it, but the kind of conspiracy, the over thing, I'd like to see hints of that, I guess, or knowing more of that.
Yeah, one of the things I'm thinking is we'll get through this murder mystery, and then maybe we'll kind of be looking at like a more sort of meta, larger, like some of the threads will come to kind of point at some things that is less a Brindlewood Bay and more of a like, oh, we've got all these things we found out. Now, where does that lead us kind of thing?
Yeah, because I'm really looking forward to that. So that's kind of a wish. And boy, as far as other wishes, I just I want to know more about all of these things. I just can't wait to dig into this. So big kudos.
Tyler, tell them what the message I sent you was.
I got to pick who our murder victim was.
Oh,
But my options were unpleasant because I chose Yang Bofeng, but the other options were Songbird Jung or Guao Batong, and there was no way that was going. There was no way. I thought Batong was super interesting, and you know, Songbird's pretty, and I'd already gotten him into so much trouble. It felt really awful for me to just kill him too. Besides, Jag was an asshole.
Yeah.
I always let the asshole get murdered.
Yeah. It's a midsummer murders rule. That guy's the most unpleasant. Guess who's dying first? And then it's up for grabs for who dies second. It's never, there's no reasoning there. Thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the recording.